Hello Darts Nutz. I'm going to do a review of the new Voks Jagger darts. These have just come out last couple of weeks or so from Voks in their new 2015 range of darts, and these are a 23 gram model. You can also get them in this is the fixed point version. You can get the fixed point in 18 and 21 grams. And the retail for $79, which is about £52 somewhere. Actually, it might be a bit less. No, I think it's about £52 somewhere around there. Can't remember exactly now. This is actually a set that's got a little bit different than the set that you can buy. These have been given a little bit of a black coating around the grip area, which kind of sets off the grip a little bit more. And this new range from Voks is quite a radical range of darts in design. You get a little Voks wallet and some Voks standard shape flights and your point protector. But like I was saying, the models that have come out by Voks, they're all very unique and incredibly well machined. It's really quite amazing that they can make such a unique grip as that. It looks a little bit like octopus suckers, or well, yeah, it's like the little suckers that you get on octopuses, but it actually feels quite a nice grip, to be honest. I was thinking it may feel too like lumpy and bumpy, but it doesn't feel like that at all, really. It feels really very grippy, but also looks a little bit like them things that you see on the little Lego bricks. Probably see it better when I do the close-up, but it is an unusual looking dart. I mean, apart from that, the rest of the barrel is a kind of a sleek, nicely profiled shape. It's just the grip that is very different, and you can get these in various different point options. These are the fixed point, obviously. You get them in soft tip as well. You get the fulcrum point. I think that's the most expensive one at $99, and you can get the ELC point, and I printed this off the site. It says smooth tapered front blended into a double back cut, with the last back cut having a carousel weave. 5 rows of tentacles, each set apart 72 degrees and sit in a little to reduce flight damage. Nice grip to give consistent release due to minimal surface contact. Smooth scalloped back end. So I'll show you a close-up now, and then you can have a good look at that grip. Right then, here's the close look. Then I'll put the detailed picture up with all the measurements on. It's fitted with quite a long silver point, and you've got this tapered nose, and then you go into this very unique grip. I don't think I've ever seen any dart with such a radical design grip as that. Obviously people will have different opinions about it based on how it looks, but it's understandable because it is very unique. But trying to describe the feel of it, if I push my fingers quite deeply into it, it is very grippy, but if I just put my fingers on lightly, as you should do when you're throwing it, I can still feel a lot of grippiness, but it doesn't feel as if it's going to be a hindrance, but I won't know for sure until I throw it. So it's really different, and like I said with the Oracle darts that I did the review on, I think Voks are quite daring in the designs. certainly something different that's beyond the norm, and it's something that I think a lot of people probably think, why? Because they might think, is it just for looks or anything? But there's probably a reason to all this. If you don't try different things, you never gonna know what's gonna work. And this is obviously more unique than anything I've seen in terms of grip, apart from the oracles as well. They were pretty radical, but it doesn't feel as weird as you might imagine. It does feel strange in some ways because you've got very grippy kind of curves to it, but just holding it in a light way, which I probably will when I'm throwing it, it's hard to get a feel of how it's going to work when I try to release it. But it is very grippy, but not like sticking into you. It's only when you put a little bit of pressure on that you feel it as if it's going to stick and not release easy, but who knows, we'll see when we throw it. But the more I look at it, the more I'm liking it, and it's got a very nice little bit of grip there as well, and then this quite nice scallop on the rear section. But I'd say if it's for a rear gripper or a front gripper, I would say if you're a rear gripper and you like to rest your fingers on that part of the barrel, then it almost feels just like a normal dart there. But for a front gripper like me, that's where it seems most unique and different. And then the very end of the barrel, it's got these little nicely cut out grooves, and the darts are fitted with some short alloy stems and some holographic Voks standard shape flights. So that's the close look at the Voks Jagger. Let's see how close I can get on the camera for you. Alright then, here's the detail picture.
Right, here's the detailed look at the dart. It's got a pretty long point at 32mm, and then there's a tapered nose of 8.6mm, and then you've got this very unique grip, including that bit of, well, I don't know what you would call it, tungsten just after the taper. It's about 20.5mm altogether, and then it kind of steps down a little bit with these rings and grooves, which is about 3.8mm before it gets to the scallop. The scallop section is about 14.6mm wide, and then on the rear of the barrel it tapers towards the end of the barrel with these notches cut along it. That's 4.2mm wide. Overall length is 51.7mm and the width is 7.9mm.
Right, I'll take some measurements along the barrel. Barrel length is 51.7. It's obviously going to be thickest around that part, but I don't really know how I'm going to measure it properly, because I think I'm just getting one flat edge and the kind of angle of another, so I'm not sure how accurate this measurement will be, but that says 7.88. I'll just try and measure it going at an angle. Depends how you grab it, so it's an awkward grip to try and measure, because they don't like correspond. You don't get one grip there and the other one is directly on the other side. It's more at an angle. So I think 7.8, 7.9 is probably the widest part, and then that scallop section tapers in to about 5.88, and then it goes to about 6.4 at the end of the barrel, and your tapered nose goes right down to about 4mm. It's a bit hard to get very on the end. It's about 4.5mm. Alright then, let's compare the weight of the barrels, see how they match. That's 23.02 grams. $23.03, and that's 23.03. So that's very, very closely matched considering how much machining is done on them. And the weight of the full setup as supplied is 24.92 grams, or 91. Right, I'll see if I can find the balance point. I think it's going to be front weighted with nothing attached, especially when there's that scallop section. It's a bit hard to see how much the grip is affecting how it sits though, because look how far I've gone there. But I think it looks to be around about here. So it's front weighted with nothing attached, and with this supplied setup it moves a little bit closer to the middle. It's pretty much right in the middle there with the supplied setup. So if you're going to grip it around the front, you're just going to be in front of that balance and just slightly behind on that scallop section. So that's the detailed look at the Voks Jagger. Like I say, it's a very unique design and great machining again from Voks. So let's give them a throw and see how they go. Well, as you would expect, I'm gripping the dart exactly on the incredibly grippy section, and it really is very, very grippy. It's probably one of the grippiest darts I've ever thrown actually. I think it's probably too grippy for me. Some of the darts there though, when I released it quite clean, the dart itself is really very nicely weighted and balanced. It's just sometimes it was lingering a little bit too much on my grip, and even as I'm letting go of it I can feel all the edges of these little circles, but it's really an awesome level of grip that, and if you're a person who likes a very grippy dart, then I'd say this is probably one of the best in that respect. But it might take a little bit longer to get the hang of it, so obviously I'm not going to spend all the time on the video practicing with it, so I'll have to practice it later on and see how good I can get at releasing it cleaner. But first impressions are it's probably too grippy for me, but it's a very nicely weighted and balanced dart for a front grip. So I'm just going to have a few more throws there, and then just because it's got that scallop section on the rear, I'll have a try from there after I've had a few more from here. I'll just have a throw from that scalloped rear bit then, just to see how it flies from there, but kind of seems pointless getting the dart if you're not going to use that featured grip there, but I suppose if you're a rear gripper who likes to rest the finger on there, then it could work for that. But I think it's very nicely balanced there for a front grip though. It's just whether or not that grip may be too severe for most, I don't know. When I do the review on the forum, I'll report back after I've had more time to play with it and get used to it. But I'll just have a couple of throws from that scallop now just to see how it feels from there. Well, that's quite surprising, because like you know, I'm not a natural rear gripper if you've watched any of my other reviews, but they were flying very nice from there. Still get the spin though that I always get when I'm thrown from the rear. But I don't expect to be doing perfect from a rear grip anyway, but one more go from there and then I'll go back to the other grip. It's quite impressive how well it works from the rear for me there. I think it's just because it's a very nicely weighted dart with the front section here, but obviously there's no grip on that scallop, but I think the tungsten itself has a kind of a nice grippy feel, but also because it's in a scallop, you've got something to push against on the edges there, but as you can see, that's the grippy section of the barrel, so you would expect it's going to be more for front grippers than anything else, but like I said, if you're a rear gripper that likes to rest that finger along there, then that could work for you as well. But it is a very nicely weighted dart, like I said, but I just maybe think that grip is a little bit too much for me, but I'll go back to that now just for a few more throws. So there you go, the Voks Jagger darts. I'll have to report back on the review on the forum about how I get on, because I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to that grip. It is really quite clingy, and it's it's hard to describe how it feels in your fingers, because I've never had a grip like this before. It's very unique, but it's incredibly well machined. But if you're after a very grippy dart, then this should fit the bill quite easily. One thing I do notice though is when you do get your release nice and clean, the darts fly very nicely, and I was a little bit surprised that it worked as well as it did from the rear for me, because like I say, I'm not a natural rear gripper, but I think it's quite an awesome looking dart, but maybe just too grippy for me overall. So that's the end of the review. Thanks for watching.